What's up, everybody? Scott here, Rock City RC. I'm going to show you guys how to do the bearings in the wheels here on the Traxxas Summit. I've already done the bearing repair. I just want to take it all apart, go through it with you guys, and show you how to go about doing it. The bearings you're going to need, the part numbers are 5180 by Traxxas and 5120. Also by Traxxas. So, first thing you got to do is get your wheel nut remover and take off your wheel. I always leave it in there just so that I know where it is. So there's that. You take your wheel off. I put the wheel underneath it like that so that it's got a place to set the truck up on. So then if you look here, there's your little wheel hub. So for that you're going to need the trusty wrenches. You need the 2mm to take this out. There's a little grub screw in there. Helps if you have new tools, because sometimes they get rounded off heads and you can't get a grip on it. Mine's already started to strip out. I'm probably going to have to get a new one, but there's the grub screw that goes in there. You pull this off. Once you get that off, you can see in here, there's your bearing. There's another bearing on the inside on the other side of that, and it's kind of a pain to get to, because you have to disassemble a bunch of stuff. So first, you need the 2.5mm, and it's going to go right up inside here. There's rubber bushings. So you're going to go up in there, and you're just going to take these off. First, you might want to take this one off. It holds your rod end in. But leave it in there. You don't want to take it all the way out, because it'll keep this from spinning, and you can do what you got to do to get the rest of this stuff out. So I'm going to go ahead and take these out. It's the top one. Okay, and it leaves your A-arm free. Let me adjust the angle a little bit better for you so you can see. So there's the top A-arm that's free. I'm going to pause it and take the other one out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so now I got the bottom one free, so you can see everything is free. So now you can go ahead and take this little screw out the rest of the way, because we need to get that out of there. So once you get this free, you can take and you can push this through. Sometimes it's not as easy to do, so I just take whatever I've got handy and pop it through. So in here, you can see there's another bearing right there. So there's your inner bearing, your outer bearing. You pop those out. If you have trouble getting them out, you can always use a screwdriver to just pop them out, just like that. See? And it goes right back in like that. Okay? So once you get it all reassembled, I usually take, and you can see this is pretty clean. So I usually take and clean that off really good, make sure that it's nice and clean. Make sure there's no slime or burrs or anything on it. Then you put it back in and put it back together. Now if anything happens like what happens to me normally, you have a lot of trouble getting this bearing to go back on to the thing. So what I do is I go into the back here. You can see I'm in the axle. Just take that axle pin out of there. Like that. Take the whole axle out of there. And then what I do is I go over to my vise over here. I put the axle in the vise and I push this down. But what I do is take a pair of, I have a socket here that fits over that bracket, that bearing perfectly. And I just tap it into place until everything is where it's supposed to be. So now that's all the way through. It's all the way through the axle for the axle pin. So I'll show you up close. You take and you line this up with the hole that's in the axle housing. You can, I don't know if you can see light through there, right there. So once you get that lined up, you take that axle pin, slide it back in there, and just tighten it back down to keep your axle from coming off. Get it just snug. You don't have to get it anything crazy. And then that's all set. Then you want to put your axle back on. Make sure you know where your threaded part is. And you put your threaded pin through there like that. I hope that's on camera. Almost on camera. Right there. So then you just tighten that back up so that your axle's attached again. And then you're going to do the opposite of what you did before. So you're going to take these and you're going to put them back in. Like this. You have to feel around a little bit to get that, to find where the head is for these screws, because they're, I don't know if you can see that, but there's a rubber boot on there, on the top and on the bottom. So you put your screwdriver, your hex head right through there until you find the head of the nut. It can be tricky, so be patient with it and get it done correctly so you don't have a mess on your hands. So compress the suspension, get it started, and you just screw these back in. I'm going to pause it so I can get these in. I'll be right back. Okie doke. So we got that all set. Then you put this back in into the holder here. This can be kind of tricky, guys, so it's just a part of the hobby. Once you get that in there, you get it lined up, you take this screw that you took out of there and you slide it right back in and you tighten that down. Just like that. And then you put your wheel back on. I'm going to hope to get a bigger area soon, guys, so I can do this a little easier for you. I like to, every once in a while I'm thinking of it here, if I can find it. Ah, here it is. I like to put a little bit of blue thread locker on the nut itself. So I usually just put a little drop on there. You can see it. It starts to conform to the nut. And then put that on there. You don't want to use thread locker on anything but metal on metal. I know I learned this the hard way. Thread locker does not work metal to plastic. What it does